Well, here we are. We made it. Week 17, the final game of the regular season, and needless to say, I think we can be very grateful that the Steelers aren't really playing for anything today, because as of the time of recording this, it's actually Sunday morning, and a lot happened in the last 24 hours for the Steelers. Of course, right now the Browns are dealing with a whole bunch of COVID issues, but apparently so are the Steelers, but not as many as what's going on with Cleveland. Joe Hayden, who just came back from the concussion he had a couple weeks ago, came back for the last two games. He won't be playing in this game, and it's likely he's not going to be playing for the wild card game either, depending on which day they play it. But I think either way, he's going to miss that game. So that's a big loss to the Steelers defense. But Eric Ebron and Cassius Marsh were also on that list because apparently they were together at the same time and they're close contacts. I think they said Eric Ebron and Cassius Marsh, if they both continue to test negative, they'll be able to play in the playoff game. But, like I said, we should be grateful that the Steelers don't really have to have that big AFC North Championship battle that could have been on NBC, Sunday Night Football, and I guarantee you the Cleveland Browns would have been the center of the attention there. But thankfully, that didn't happen. The Steelers got their business done finally last week against the Colts. And they get to rest most of their starters. Ben Roethlisberger's not playing. It's going to be Mason Rudolph starting. I know, Mason Rudolph starting in Cleveland. Chance for him to get some revenge for what Myles Garrett did to him last year. But I think they also said, like, T.J. Watt's not playing, Cam Hayward, many of the big defensive guys. They're still playing a lot of the regular offensive starters. Like, I haven't heard anything about Juju Smith-Schuster or Chase Claypool, James Washington, Deontay Johnson, James Conner, those guys. I haven't heard anything about them not playing in this game, which really wouldn't matter. But I mean, this is weird about this. It's not a big game, but it's a big game at the same time because, well, for one thing, on the Steelers side, they can only win this game and hope that Miami wins against Buffalo, because if that happens, then the Steelers, I think, move up to the second seed, and Buffalo would be the third seed going into the playoffs. But the bigger reward is for the Cleveland Browns because they have a chance to end their 18-year playoff drought, and if they basically need to win this game and get in, even though the Browns are not going to have as many people on their sideline because they're, like I said, they're dealing with a COVID outbreak there. So, this is going to be an interesting game, I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I don't know, it's tough to even pick this one because, I mean, granted, it would be nice if the Steelers could win and deny Cleveland a chance to get to the playoffs, just like a couple years ago when Cleveland had a chance to beat Baltimore to help the Steelers get in the playoffs, and then they didn't do that. But at the same time, though, I have a feeling that the Browns are going to and Steelers are going to meet each other in back-to-back weeks. I think this week they'll meet with Mason as the backup quarterback starting up, and then in the playoffs they'll meet again with Ben and everybody else back in the lineup. So, I mean, I don't know. This could be it's a very interesting game, but not really an interesting game. It's very complex here. I'm going with the fact that the Browns will probably win this game. I think it'll be much closer than I think a lot of people will give it credit for. I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, but I don't really expect anything too crazy to happen in this one. I think this is basically, for the Steelers, it's basically a look and see is Mason Rudolph the future of this franchise? Is this the guy that's going to take the Steelers to the next level once Ben eventually leaves or retires? But I think it's also going to be interesting to see how the play calling is done, because if you saw what happened in the second half of the game last week, apparently Ben Roethlisberger was calling all the shots there. He was calling all the plays, and the Colts couldn't figure out what to do with that. So I don't know who's going to be calling the plays. One would hope it's Matt Canada, because I don't know why Randy Fichtner still has a job with them. I don't know how he's going to help the Steelers in the playoffs, because he's not done very well. He's been very conservative about the whole thing. And I don't know. I don't know what he'll do with this. Plus, when Mason Rudolph was the starter last year, he didn't really do a whole lot with him. So, yeah. And Josh Dobbs is going to be the backup for Mason Rudolph in this game too. So that's going to be interesting to see. Um, I don't know. I mean, this could be a very it could be interesting, or it could just be a low-scoring affair. Because I don't think there's really a whole lot there for the Steelers to work with here. I mean, like I said, they could win this game and hope that Miami beats Buffalo, which I think they can't. I think Miami has a chance to do. But the Browns want to get into the playoffs. Like I said, they haven't been there in almost 20 years. So it's in Cleveland, and it's obviously going to be a lot of craziness considering what happened the last time these two teams met in Cleveland. So, yeah, my thinking is that the Browns will win this game. I think the Steelers will be the 3 seed at least. They're going to be the 3 seed regardless, but I think that's where they're going to sit at right now. Even if Miami loses, if Pittsburgh loses, it doesn't really change the standings there, which probably will be a better thing because the 3 seed would eventually be playing the 6 seed with these new playoff standings with the 7th team added. What is it? 7-2, 6-3, and then 5-4. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting playoff picture coming up with that we'll have a better understanding of 24 hours from now. But right now I'm going to say the Browns win this one. I think they will get into the playoffs. I doubt they'll make it very far because usually when teams that have not been in the playoffs or rookie quarterbacks that haven't been in the playoffs the first time around usually don't do very well. So I don't think the Browns will make it that far, but I think they do make the playoffs with a win tomorrow or today. So this is going to be a very interesting day. Let's see what happens.
To change. Make sure to check out the FanDuel Sportsbook app or website for the most up-to-date odds.
Time now to beat the bus. The final week, it is all on the line. So first, we're going to set the stage with the standings. No changes in the last couple weeks, so heading into the final week, I have a 3-game lead over Jerome, a 6-game lead over Albie. So to spice things up, we are picking all 16 games on the slate this week. But Jerome, let's start with you for your pick between the Steelers and the Browns.
And in this game, the Steelers have decided not to go with Ben Roethlisberger. And you know what? It's okay. Mason Rudolph comes in. I believe he'll play well, but the Steelers will lose this football game because when the Steelers are not inspired, they don't come out with a great performance. They'll lose this game, but this is not a game that matters, so it doesn't mean much. The Browns win this one in a close game.
That is a move of desperation, Jerome. You're going with the Browns. Even though the FanDuel Sportsbook line has the show taping, it is Cleveland by 10. But Albie and I are going with the Steelers. Now in the other AFC North game, the Ravens at the Bengals. Baltimore looking to punch their playoff ticket, and we all have the Ravens to win. They're favored by 11.5. Now, we're not going to go through the rest of the games we all agree on in great detail, but there are 7 other games where there are differences. Now, the first 2 with Albie, Cowboys at the Giants. Albie picking New York, while you and I both have the Cowboys. Jerome, Dallas is favored by 3 points. Seahawks at 49ers. We both have Seattle. Albie has San Francisco. The FanDuel Sportsbook has Seattle by 5.5. Now the 4 games, Jerome, where you and I are on the opposite side. The Jets at the Patriots. Albie and I taking New England to end the season with a win. You have the Jets riding off with a 3-game winning streak. Patriots are favored by 3. The Raiders at the Broncos, an all-time great rivalry. The Raiders are favored by 2.5. I like the favorite along with Albie. Jerome, you like Denver in this one. The Chargers at the Chiefs. The Chiefs have nothing to play for, and LA is favored by 3.5. Somehow I'm the one going alone with the Chargers to win this game. The Cardinals at the Rams. Jerome, you're going with Arizona. I am with LA. So is Albie. LA favored by 1. And finally, the Vikings at the Lions. I'm told you added this one last minute, Jerome, with your hometown Detroit. Albie and I have Minnesota, the Vikings. They're favored by 6.5. You can check sportsbook.fanduel.com for up-to-the-minute betting line.
Here are today's Pepsi picks, brought to you by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, let's get right to it. Rich, your pick for today.
Hey, this was a tough one. A lot of guys missing in this game, but I think Mason Rudolph has something to prove. He's fighting for a job. I like the Steelers in this to win 23-17.
Charlie.
I
Yeah, I didn't get the halftime score from the CBS broadcast, so I had to go to the Twitter page and get the halftime page there. But didn't I say this was going to be much closer than I think a lot of people thought it would be? And it's interesting. Like I said before, it's an interesting game. I mean, even if the Steelers lose in this game, I'm not going to be too upset about it because they clinched everything they need to do. Plus, man, Buffalo right now is just killing the Miami Dolphins right now. I would be scared if we have to play the Buffalo Bills next week. But that's not going to happen. At least not next week. If the Steelers do win, I think they do play the Bills. Actually, no, because they probably wouldn't. Thought I saw something for a minute. But no, I think Buffalo. I think if the Steelers win next week, they would probably go to Kansas City if they were the highest remaining seed. Or lowest remaining seed, excuse me. I don't know, I need to do some research on this. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it would be the lowest remaining seed, so let's say the 7th ranked team in the playoffs wins the game next week and they go to Kansas City. And then, so yeah, the Steelers would have to play the Bills next week if the Steelers win next week. But we'll worry about that as the game here ends. And it's been kind of so-so. There's been times when the Steelers have looked pretty good. There's been times when the Browns have looked really good. But, I mean, the Browns took an early lead early on. But since then, the Steelers have had 2 field goals by Matthew Wright. But other than that, it's been about what I'd expect here. I don't know where it's going to go from here. I don't know what's going to happen from this point on. I do know that, surprisingly, they're putting Josh Dobbs in a little bit more. You're still getting Mason Rudolph here and there, but Josh Dobbs has been showing up as well. So, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to end. I don't think, from the way it looks right now, I think Cleveland's definitely getting in. I think Miami will be struggling to get in. And I think the Steelers are going to be locked in as the 3 seed. At least that's what I think right now. We don't know what's going to happen as the second half starts. So that's just my thinking right now. But we still got another half to play. So let's see what happens.
Touchdowns here. AFC playoff picture as of this moment. The Miami Dolphins trailing heavily to the Buffalo Bills is the most consequential score. Ravens are handling their business. If they win, they're in. Browns are handling their business. If they win, they're in. Miami loses. That means Tennessee is automatically in the playoffs. Tennessee can still win the division title later today on NFL Redzone. And the Colts would have a back door open. 3rd and goal for Baker Mayfield.
And not surprising. Didn't I say it was going to be a lot closer than we all thought it was going to be? I didn't think it would be that close. I mean, give the Steelers a lot of credit. They rested most of their starters, and they came pretty close to winning the game, surprisingly, which is big for them. So, and on top of that, there was no injuries in this game, so that's something to be grateful for. Yeah, like I said, the Steelers made it close. It was 24-22 in the end, but the Cleveland Browns are in the playoffs. First time that's happened in 18 years, which is good for them. Good for them. I mean, they had the longest playoff drive for the longest time, and now they're back in. Now see what you can actually do against a real Steelers team, because they're going to be facing them next week, and most of the starters will be back for the Steelers. And it's going to be in Pittsburgh, so should be a very good matchup next week. And I just realized we're getting playoff football here. I think this is the first time I've ever had playoff football when ever doing these Steeler videos or these Steeler posts before. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, I would think that the Steelers starters coming back in here is going to make next week against the Browns much more interesting, but I don't know. I mean, like right now, I feel like the Steelers will win this one because with first-time quarterbacks in the playoffs, you don't usually know how good they're going to be. Most of them don't usually win their first playoff game, and I feel like that's going to happen for the Browns, especially because they had more injuries in this game than the Steelers did. So there's a chance. There's definitely a chance that the Steelers could end up winning this game next week. Still don't know what the time is yet, but whenever we get those details, we'll have those details. So, so yeah, the regular season ends 12-4, which is pretty good, all things considered. And we got playoff football next week, so hopefully it's next Sunday, because next Sunday is my 32nd birthday, so that'll be a big birthday present for me if there's a game next Sunday afternoon. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say right now. Thanks to those of you who have been watching all season long, and we're going to keep this train going at least until next week. So the Stairway to 7 is officially open now.